Logical reasoning test assesses your ability to interpret patterns, sequences, and relationships. You're tested on how well you can identify underlying rules or structures, often without prior knowledge or subject-specific facts. The logical reasoning test is typically administered under the following conditions. It's timed format. It usually has 30 to 90 seconds per question, so time management is essential to complete the test successfully. You are typically presented with multiple choice questions. Each question has one correct answer, typically selected from 4 to 5 options. Some questions may include choices like all of the above or none of the above. While tests can be administered on paper, most employers nowadays use online platforms, often with remote proctoring to ensure test integrity. In this video, we'll focus on testing 4 essential skills that are typically assessed during logical reasoning tests: pattern recognition, deductive reasoning, inductive reasoning, and critical thinking and problem solving under pressure. Before we begin, let me introduce myself. My name is Vadim Michalenko, and I hold MBA and Master's degree in computer science. I have worked in the information technology field for over 20 years, and I've spent more than 15 years teaching people how to succeed in their careers. I created online training for everyone and the website howtoanalyzedata.net to help people like you pass interviews and assessment tests and get you hired for your dream job. In this video, I'll walk you through most common question types you might see on the test. I'll also share with you answers, solutions, and explanations, as well as tips to improve your chances of passing the test. The questions are shown in random order, so I recommend watching the whole video to practice and learn as much as possible. Many people have passed their tests after watching videos like this, and I hope it helps you too. Before we start, make sure to click the subscribe button to continue learning about the latest questions, and don't forget to like, comment, or share this video. If you have any questions, leave them in comments. I reply to every message I get. And now, let's go ahead and get started. In this question, you're presented with 4 objects, and you need to determine the odd one. Take a moment to fully understand the question, and select your answer out of 4 possible choices. Choices A, B, C, and D. Make sure to lock in your answer before time is up. Once you're ready, we'll reconnect on the other side to review it together. Let's go ahead and get started. Time's up. Do you have your answer ready? I hope so, because even though question seems complex, the solution here is really simple. In fact, we can find the answer in 3 simple steps. In step 1, we need to break down each object into individual parts, individual basic shapes. In step 2, we need to review fundamental geometrical components of each object. And in step 3, we need to identify what the majority of objects have in common to find the outlier. Let's start with step 1. As you can see, each object consists of fundamental geometrical components. We see circles, we see squares, and we see triangle. For example, object B has 2 squares and 2 circles. Object C has a square and a circle. And object D has triangle and a circle. As you can see, objects B, C, and D all have circle in common. And object A does not have a circle, which means that object A is the odd one, since it has rounded areas but does not have a full circle. And the correct answer here is choice A. For this question, I would like you to imagine yourself as a wizard facing a mystical riddle. The correct answer casts a spell of your brilliance, unlocking the next enchanted door and revealing deeper secrets of the magical world. You're presented with the series of magical shapes. Shapes 1, 2, 3, and then comes the missing shape, for which you need to unlock the pattern and select your answer out of 4 possible choices. Choices A, B, C, and D. Take some time to review the problem and come up with your solution just like you would on a real test. Make sure to finalize your answer before time runs out. We'll go over the solution afterwards. Let's go ahead and get started. Time's up. Do you have your answer ready? I hope so, because we would need it to unlock this next enchanted door. And the key to solve this mystical riddle is to understand the pattern. To understand it, let's look closely at each shape. We're dealing here with 3 elements in each shape. Number 1 is the large triangle. Then we have a small circle. And then we have a small rectangle or thick line, depending how you want to look at this. Each element follows its own pattern. The large triangle rotates from the 6 o'clock position to the 12 o'clock position in the first 2 shapes, and then from 3 o'clock position to the 9 o'clock position in the 3rd and 4th shapes. Small circle appears in every other shape, so we would see it in the target shape, which is missing. And then small rectangle is always on the opposite side of the triangle's pointer. Knowing these patterns, let's construct the target shape. The target shape should have a small circle, it should have a triangle at 9 o'clock, and the rectangle should be on the opposite side of the triangle's pointer. Do you think we can unlock enchanted door now? I think you've got it. The correct answer here is choice B. Here's an amazing question to test your spatial reasoning. You're presented with the 3-dimensional view, and you need to select view from the opposite side out of 4 possible choices. The choices are A, B, C, and D. Take a close look to see if you can select the right solution. Please look closely, as it may not be as easy as it seems. Are you ready? Because I'm moving forward to share with you my version of the answer. And if you have a better way to solve it, obviously please make sure to post in comments. If your answer to this question was choice C, you answered it correctly. There are 4 objects on the original 3-dimensional image. We have a duck, we have a basketball, we have a smartphone, and we have a hammer, which is barely noticeable on the original picture. And the easiest way to solve this challenge is to select one object and track it on the opposite side. I selected a duck, but you can as well select a hammer or a smartphone. It is a little bit harder with the ball because it's in the middle and it's a symmetrical object. So let's go back to the duck. If you look at the original image, you see that the duck is looking to the left, and it is on the left side of the ball. Which means that if we look from the opposite side, the duck will be looking to the right and would be on the right side of the ball. We frequently see these types of questions on the test, so to help you solve these types of challenges, here are the views of these objects from different sides. Take a look at these objects from the right, from the left side, and take a look at this set of objects when duck and the ball have changed the position. I wanted to ask you, did you get to the same answer? If not, please make sure to post your answer and solution in comments, as well as you can supplement it with some tips on how to solve these types of challenges. In this question, you're presented with 4 objects, and you need to determine the odd one. Your choices for the answers are choices A, B, C, and D. Just like on the usual test, your goal is to understand the question and lock in your answer in your mind before time is up. Once you're ready, we'll reconnect on the other side and review it together. Let's go ahead and get started. Time's up. Do you have your answer ready? I hope so, because the solution here is extremely simple. You typically solve these types of challenges in 3 simple steps. In step 1, you break down each object into individual parts. In step 2, you review fundamental geometric components of each object. And then in step 3, you identify what the majority of objects have in common to find the outlier. Let's start with the step 1. If you look closely, you see that object A has triangle and square. Object B has 3 components: circle, square, and then circle again in the background. Even though object C looks like a diamond, you can argue that it consists of 2 squares. And object D consists of circle and the donut inside. What does it tell us? We just learned that objects A, B, and C all have squares in common. Let me highlight them for you so you can see them clearly. Can you see it? Remember the original question? We need to determine the object which is different. And object D, which contains circle and the donut, is different. And the correct answer here is choice D. Are you ready for more? Try this question to see how you would do. You're presented with 4 cool-looking shapes, and you need to determine the odd object that doesn't belong. Your choices for the answers are choices A, B, C, and D. After you've selected your final answer, post it in comments and I'll share my feedback. Enjoy solving this cool problem. In this question, you're presented with amazingly cool-looking matrices. In fact, 3x3 matrices, which have smaller shapes inside. 3 shapes are present, and you need to determine which shape comes next. Your goal is to detect the pattern and select your answer out of 4 possible choices. Choices A, B, C, and D. This is what we're gonna do. Take a moment to understand the question just like you would on a real test. Make sure to choose one of 4 answer options before time is up. Afterwards, I'll walk you through the solution step by step. Alright, let's dive in. Time's up. Do you have your answer ready? I truly hope so, because even though the question looks complex, the solution is surprisingly simple. To understand the pattern, let's look at the first shape. It has circle, square, and diamond inside. To get to the correct answer, we need to understand how each small shape moves inside the matrix with next step, and also whether it changes the color. Let's start with the square. As you can see, square doesn't move and doesn't change the color. Pretty easy pattern, right? Next, let's move at the diamond. Diamond has trickier pattern because diamond moves 4 steps clockwise. Let's look at the example. In the first matrix, diamond is at 1 o'clock. Let's move it 4 steps clockwise. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this is exactly where it ends up in the second shape. Let's continue. 1, 2, 3, and 4. As you can see, diamond is back at 1 o'clock in the third shape. But if you think diamond's pattern was tricky, think again. In fact, circle has the trickiest pattern of them all, because circle not just moves 5 steps clockwise, but with every step it changes the color. Let's look at the example. In the first matrix, circle is at 8 o'clock. Let's move it 5 steps clockwise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And change the color. And this is exactly what we see in the second shape. Let's continue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And change the color. And this is why we see circle at 11 o'clock in the third shape. And I think you're ready now, because now is the magic time to calculate the missing shape. Knowing the patterns, let's construct the missing shape together. In the shape that we're building, square should be in the middle, diamond should be at 8 o'clock, and circle should be at 6 o'clock. And the correct answer here is choice A. Hold on! Are you ready for another round? Now that you know how to tackle these kinds of challenges, let's keep the momentum going. Try this question to see how you would do. You're presented with a sequence of matrices, in fact 3x3 matrices. Each shape in the matrix has smaller shapes inside. 3 matrix objects are present, and the 4th one is missing. You need to calculate the missing matrix and select your answer out of 4 possible choices. Choices A, B, C, and D. After you've worked out your answer, post it in comments and I'll share my feedback. Enjoy solving this cool problem. Here's the very interesting question, which is frequently used to test your analytical reasoning and spatial reasoning. You're presented with the set of objects, and you need to find the missing item. The set of objects consists of 3 rows. In the first row, you see the pigeon, arrow, and then the pigeon again. In the second row, you see the flower, arrow, and then the flower again. Then in the third row, you see the car, the arrow, and then comes the missing item. You need to select the missing item out of 4 possible choices. Choices A, B, C, and D. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the solution. If you can't figure it out, consider pausing this video to see if you can get to the answer. Are you ready? I am moving forward to share with you my version and my rationale for the answer. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, or if you have a better explanation, please make sure to post in comments. The actual answer to the question is very simple. But the question was designed to confuse you. The objects that you see on the left of the arrow and on the right of the arrow are reflections of each other. What's interesting here is that the objects are mirror images reflected either horizontally or vertically. you determine the axis of reflection based not on the direction of the arrow, but based on the direction which is rotated 90 degrees to the direction actually shown. Let's look at the actual example. Because the direction of the first arrow in the first row goes from top to bottom, the pigeon actually is reflected horizontally, not vertically. And to get to the correct answer, you need to rotate the pigeon 180 degrees. Let's look at the second object. We see the flowers with the yellow flower being on the left. And once we do the conversion, basically vertical reflection, because the arrow goes from left to right, we see that the yellow flower is now on the right. So the pattern here is that the arrow points to perpendicular direction of the actual reflection. For example, vertical direction of the arrow results in horizontal reflection and vice versa. Let's look at the third row to get to the correct answer. Because arrow goes from top to bottom, we need to use horizontal reflection, which means that the correct answer here is choice A. Did you get to the same answer? If not, please make sure to post your answer and rationale in comments. I love this challenge because it tests your analytical skills and spatial reasoning skills so well. You need to find the resulting shape after the transformations. You're presented with the square that consists of different triangles of a different color. And you need to turn the original shape 90 degrees clockwise 3 times. You have 4 different choices to select the shape after the transformations. Choice A, B, C, and D. Take a close look to see if you can calculate the final solution. Did you figure it out? Because I am moving forward to share with you my version and my way of solving it. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. To solve this challenge, you need to mentally turn the original shape 90 degrees 3 times. This is not easy to do because our brain is not really designed for this. But if we take one of the triangles and try to follow this triangle by turning the original square, this task might be much easier to accomplish. The caveat here is that we need to select triangles that are not symmetrical on both sides. For example, red triangles are symmetrical. You see red triangles on the left and red triangles on the right. And if we try to follow it, it would be extremely hard to detect where the red triangle will end up. But if we take green triangles, any one of them, or yellow triangles, they're much easier to follow. So let's do the turning. Let's take the original square and I am going to follow the green triangle on the left. Let's do the first turn 90 degrees. You see that the green triangle ended up on the top. Let's do another turn. We follow the same green triangle and now it's on the right side. And the last 90-degree turn, our green triangle ended up at the bottom. So the correct choice here is choice A, where green triangle ended up on the bottom. Do you have a better way to solve it? Or maybe did you come up with a different solution? Please make sure to post your thoughts and rationale in comments. Let's dive into an amazing cognitive assessment test question that not only enhances your analytical abilities, but also improves your valuable problem-solving skills you can apply to solve real-life problems. You're presented with 3 squares, and you need to determine which square comes next. The next square should be selected out of 4 possible choices. Choices A, B, C, and D. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the solution. Well, after close examination of all the choices, I think I got my answer. And I'm ready to unravel the problem-solving techniques together with you. I also think I have a tip for you on how to solve these types of challenges, and obviously invite you to share your brilliant ideas on how to solve it in comments so we can all learn. Our goal is to get to the solution in 4 simple steps. Let's start with the step 1. In step 1, we need to analyze the original sequence of squares to find the pattern. Let's take a close look at what we have. Even though all objects are squares, the 2 squares are 4 by 4, and the third square is 5 by 5. We also can see that all shapes have alternating colors. But you can see that the first shape starts with the darker square in the upper left corner, and the second square starts with the lighter square in the upper left corner. Now it's time to go to the step 2. In step 2, we need to visualize the final shape. Based on what we've just learned, our final shape should be 5 by 5 in size, with alternating colors and should have a lighter small square in the upper left corner. There are two choices that match this option, choices B and C. Let's jump to step 3 and eliminate the incorrect options. Let's closely look at options B and C to examine options that are incorrect. As you can see, the option C is incorrect because the choice G2 is the extra dark object which creates a cross. And this leads us to step 4, where we need to verify our answer. Once we've determined that what we believe is the final shape, let's double check it by comparing to the provided choices and ensure that it matches the pattern and colors to complete the shape. As you might have guessed, the correct answer here is choice B, because it matches all the criteria and continues the sequence. To solve this amazing question, let's remember Ralph Waldo Emerson, who famously wrote, "Every artist was first an amateur." I think his words encourage us to think beyond what we already know and approach this challenge with fresh perspectives and fearless creativity. You're presented with the large grid, which has missing pieces, and your goal is to identify the piece that fits. Your choices for the answers are choices A, B, C, and D. Here's what we're gonna do. Take a moment to understand the question just like you would in a real test. Make sure you choose your answer before time is up. Afterwards, I'll walk you through the solution step by step. Let's go ahead and get started. Time's up. Do you have your answer ready? I hope so, because the solution here is not very difficult. In fact, to solve it, we need to do two things. We need to focus on the edge areas and review the differences closely. And in the second step, we need to eliminate answer options that don't fit based on their shape and block count. Let's start by identifying those edge areas we need to focus on. I identified 5. Do you see more? This is what I found. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. These are the areas where you need to look closely at the block difference in the answer choices. Let's look at the example. Let's look at the example in the first edge areas. You see that there are 2 blocks missing. Unfortunately, this doesn't help us much because these 2 blocks exist in all 4 answer choices, choices A, B, C, and D. Let's focus on the edge area 2. As we can see, it has 5 blocks missing. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Well, as far as I can see, choices A, B, and C still match this pattern, but we can successfully eliminate choice D. Now let's look at the edge area 3. It has 2 missing blocks, and this pattern only exists in shapes B and C, so we can also eliminate choice A. Edge area 4 has 1 missing block, but unfortunately it's not helpful because this pattern still exists in choices B and C. Well, our last hope is the edge area 5. Let's see if it's gonna be helpful. And voila! I think we're getting closer to the right answer because now we can eliminate the choice C. Well, and you know what time it is now, right? It's the magic time to announce the answer. The correct answer here is choice B, and we can now move it over and overlap with the main grid so you can see that this answer is correct. Do you know any other alternative ways to solve these types of challenges quickly? Please make sure to post your recommendations in comments so we can all learn. Think of this question as a riddle hidden in the old, dusty book. Every clue you decipher gets you closer to revealing the final truth. Your curiosity and determination are the keys that open this mystery lock in this amazing question. You're presented with the shapes 1, 2, and 3, and the 4th shape is missing. Your goal is to decipher the pattern and determine your answer, which shape comes next out of 4 possible choices. Choices A, B, C, and D. Take a moment to review the problem just like you would in a real test. Be sure to lock in your answer before time runs out. I'll meet you on the other side and we'll review the solution together. Let's the magic begin. Time's up. Do you have your answer ready? I'm pretty sure, being the smart individual as you are, you've detected the pattern. And there are actually 3 patterns here. Let's start with the first one, probably the simplest in this question. Take a close look at the diamonds. You see that the number of diamonds increases by 2 in every subsequent shape. Let's look at the example. First shape has 3 diamonds, second shape has 5 diamonds, and then the third shape has 7 diamonds, which means that the target shape will have 9 diamonds. Now let's look at the answer choices. This helps us eliminate choices A and C, but we still need to decide which choice is correct, B or D. Let's take a close look at the shaded rectangle, which is located at 5 o'clock in the first shape. To better understand the pattern, let's imagine the letter N in English alphabet. A shaded rectangular shape moves to form the letter N. It begins at 5 o'clock position, then it shifts to the 11 o'clock and then 1 o'clock positions, and finally reaches the 8 o'clock position in the target shape. The third pattern here is the pattern of the water drop shape, which is probably the most interesting. In fact, there are 2 types of water drop shapes. The first one has double lines, and then the second type, starting in shape 3, would be a single line water drop shape. If you look closely, you will see that the water drop shapes with double lines are positioned close together at 1 at 11 o'clock in shapes 1 and 2. Starting from shape 3, the sequence changes to single line shapes. The single line water drop shapes are then placed at the opposite corners at 8 o'clock and then at 5 o'clock. Based on this, we can easily conclude that the correct answer here is choice D. But wait, are you ready for more? Try this question to see how you would do. You're presented with the sequence of shapes. 3 shapes are present and the 4th shape is missing. You have 4 choices for your answer, choices A, B, C, and D. Once you've determined the answer, share it in comments and I'll give you my feedback. Good luck with this exciting challenge. But wait, there is more. Are you ready for your own challenge? Try this question to see how you would do. You're presented with the series of shapes. 3 shapes are present and the 4th shape is missing. You need to detect the pattern and calculate the missing shape out of 4 possible choices. Choices A, B, C, and D. Once you've determined your answer, share it in comments and I'll give you some feedback. Good luck with this fun challenge. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you for helping us to become one of the largest YouTube channels to help people become smarter, increase your IQ, and to pass any test. If the content of this video was helpful, please make sure to click the like button to help YouTube algorithm promote this video and help other people to find it faster. Giving us a like is also a way for you to tell us that you need more content like this, and when you tell us, we will deliver it for you in the future. For links to free and premium resources, please check the description and comments of this video. You can also go directly to our website, howtoanalyzedata.net, to download the materials related to this topic. I really appreciate your endorsement, support, and patronage of this channel. And thank you for considering to become a member and considering to subscribe. Please leave feedback, suggestions, or corrections in comments. And all the best on your journey. I'll see you in my next video.